Hi, friends. Welcome back to Getting Close, a podcast about connection. My name is Aidan Wharton, and today I'm connecting with Rachel Wright.
Relationships are relationships are relationships are relationships.
Bam.
I was ready for many relationships. I just wasn't ready for one. What you're doing is creating distress tolerance, your literal tolerance for distress. If I'm going to let someone down, I want to make sure I understand why. Discomfort is temporary. It is not a permanent state of being.
How would you advise someone who does not feel represented in the polyamory conversation to still get started with those conversations healthily? Before we get into it, two quick things. If you're one of the 20% of people who is listening without subscribing, just go back to the show page and subscribe for me. Second, this is the first episode in which we encountered a technical difficulty. So at about like the 34-minute mark, you're going to hear us cut out for a moment and come back and address it. But I wanted to let you know up front. And if you're watching this, hey, you, the video cuts out for no reason for the last 5 minutes. So we're rolling with the punches. But if there's anyone to roll with the punches with, it is Rachel Wright. Rachel is an incredible guest. She is a distinguished psychotherapist and renowned speaker with expertise in modern relationships, mental health, and sex. Her mission is to help people live happier, healthier lives by providing insights and practical advice in a relatable and engaging way. With a master's degree in clinical psychology, Rachel has worked with thousands of clients worldwide and has been featured in the New York Times, Women's Health, Cosmo, and more. Rachel currently lives in New York City with her wife and 2 kids. When she's not working, you can probably find her in her pajamas, seeing live theater, eating gluten-free food, or belting out show tunes. It's a really, really special episode, and we explore how to let people down healthily, how ingrained patterns shape the way we love, how non-monogamy can show up in our youth long before we have language for it, whether or not non-monogamy is an orientation or a preference, and how expanding our distress tolerance can actually change the way we approach openness and non-monogamy. It's a really lovely episode. So without further ado, let's get close with Rachel Wright. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me
Of
on
course.
today's episode of Getting Close.
Thank you.
In the snow.
In the snow. There's so much snow outside.
There is so much snow.
86 snow.
But to start, we're going to start with our connection questions.
Can't wait.
Where you get to pick one and I will pick one.
And I ask you this one?
Yeah, let's start with you.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're just getting real deep in here. I love this.
The red ones are deep.
Ooh.
And so I only chose red ones. I feel like today that felt right.
Love. Okay. When you die,
Ooh.
told
Okay.
you,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want to be remembered for?
When I die, well, that is a hard sentence to say. I would like to be remembered for making the world a better place.
Just like my mug says.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, didn't even plan it. Yeah, my inspiration is Harvey Milk, and I would love to impact the world in a positive way like he did.
I love that.
Yeah. All right. How do you get in the way of your own success?
Oh, geez, Louise. I didn't know this was the thing. How do I get
I'm
in
turning
there
the
with...
therapy tables
Yeah,
on
exactly. I'm like, role reversal. How do I get in the way of my own success? A couple things.
Okay.
I think that I call myself a recovering people pleaser.
Sure.
Recovering people pleaser. And I think that at times I struggle to determine whether my natural kindness and generosity
Mm-hmm.
is serving my success also, because a big part of me to feel successful is to invest in other people, right? And help other people and
we are about to get into it.
leave the world a better place.
Right.
And then there's the individual aspect of success and like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that definition is changing constantly. And so it's like, am I, and perhaps it's this overthinking that is actually the thing that gets in the way of my success.
Sure. Yep. Okay. Another thing we have in common. Check. How do you deal with like letting people down? So I'm like really in the middle of that, where as I'm trying to build this little media empire,
Yeah.
I'm sort of having a crisis of not being able to spend as much time with my people, which really is hard for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to let people down. So how do you deal with letting people down?
The universe decided that I was going to have to learn really quickly and without consent.
Sure. Okay.
So I had very severe on and off depressive episodes
Okay.
from 2021 through 2023.
Okay.
And it was
Yeah.
up and down, on and off. But when I was down, I was down.
Yeah.
And my clients, my brand partnerships, my media contacts, I would just like essentially ghost. I mean, I would have someone reach out,
Sure.
obviously, to clients and things, but I couldn't see friends. I couldn't show up for their birthdays. It was like all the things that are so important to me, I was physically incapable of doing.
Right.
And what I found was that while it let a lot of people down, there were people who were able to articulate that and say it with love and kindness and also express empathy. And like, I know that this wasn't on purpose. And it, like, I felt sad that
Yeah.
you weren't at this thing or that you, whatever. And then there were people who were like, I can't believe that you never called me back.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I think that we are going to have a problem long term in
Right.
this relationship if like you are genuinely upset with me that I didn't call you back when I was in a depressive episode.
Yeah.
And that the way that that letdown feeling is coming out is like you did something wrong
Right.
instead of the I'm feeling let down or I felt sad when you were down because I didn't get to talk to you.
Right.
Right. And so I think that that kind of ripped the Band-Aid off for me a little bit. And
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, if I'm going to let someone down, I want to make sure I understand why. And if the why is in alignment with my values and my priorities at that time, then I'm going to do what I need to do, but do it with kindness and compassion. And frankly, even start with like, I know that this might be a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
And just kind of like rip that Band-Aid off right away. And the people who are staying in my life and who have stayed in my life, like we let each other down.
Yeah.
And the more I think you see that you can do that in both directions and come back from it and that
Mhm.
everything is okay, it doesn't have to be this like big scary thing.
Oh my gosh. I'm just like so excited to have this conversation because there's so much in there that I want to explore. I think there is such a interesting difference in communication because it sounds like both of those parties felt the same internal thing. And one party was like, I'm feeling vulnerable. Here's this. I missed you. And one is placing the blame on other people. And I think what is most interesting to me is this idea of letting people down and that letting people down is okay. But is there a boundary for you when somebody lets you down too much? Because I think we're in this era of it's so easy to cancel plans.
Yes.
And it's so easy to not put effort into relationships.
Yeah.
What does that boundary look like for you?
So for me, it's more about care and pattern.
Okay.
So if it's a pattern because someone is depressed,
Right.
that's not a pattern,
Okay.
right? Like they're not consciously choosing to cancel plans every time,
Right.
or I wasn't counting. It's like
Right.
this happened. There's a difference between that and someone who just like chronically cancels
Sure.
or chronically like commits to something and doesn't
Mhm.
do it and then is like, oh yeah, no, I'll definitely do that. And then like
Right.
nothing. That to me is when we start to get to a point of like, can we have a conversation about this?
Mhm.
And I've been on both sides of that conversation, like in full disclosure. I
Sure.
it's not easy. But if the care is there and like the dedication is there to like, I really want to get better at this.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not investing as much as I want. I know
Mhm.
that I have been flaky. I know that I've been really distracted. And so like I have let people down over that time because I was so consumed in my own pain and in my own grief that like I had nothing else to give.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, I didn't even know that that's what was going on. And so I had a lot of conversations with people as I came out of it, like, hey, I have sucked as a friend lately. Like,
Yeah.
truly. And I so appreciate your understanding. Like, I know you haven't communicated with me, but like, I can imagine if I were in your shoes, I'd be like, it's kind of a bummer.
A little bit.
So can we talk about it?
Yeah.
And like, how can we move forward from this? And how can I show you that I am invested in
Right.
this now that I have more resources?
If someone is listening who is experiencing that with one of their friends, so if their friend was going through a depressive episode or going through a hard time, what was the thing that helped you the most from your friends, and what could this person do?
Oh my God. Understanding and empathy
Yeah.
with the ask. So like the you didn't call me back example,
Right.
starting with, I'm really upset because you didn't call me back,
Mm-hmm.
versus starting with, you've been fucking through it.
Yeah.
Like I cannot imagine what this has been like.
Mm-hmm.
I felt really bummed when you didn't return my call. And like, I want to try to create a new streak now that you're
Sure.
not depressed to like get back on track. Like starting with the acknowledgement and the empathy and the like, this isn't your fault,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's not someone's fault if they are going through something, whether it's mental health or a life thing or a combination of both.
The world.
Yeah, the world.
Yeah.
It's not someone's fault that they didn't call you back. Like, is it on them? Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
But we don't necessarily have to be like, it's like the song in Into the Woods, right? It's like we're just gonna like all go around in a circle about like whose fault it was.
Right.
And when really like it was a sequence of events that got us here, and not all of those events were even within our control.
Sure.
So I think just like meeting them with acknowledgement and empathy and with a clear ask.
Okay.
Like
Yep.
if you just, it really sucked you didn't call me back. You're like, yeah, well, it really sucked to be depressed.
And it really sucks to get that text message from you.
Right.
Okay.
It's so different than
Yeah.
like, oh, this has been so hard
Yeah.
for you.
So understanding and a clear ask.
Yeah.
Those are so important.
Yeah. And like, we don't know the ins and outs of even like the closest people in our
Right.
lives. We don't know exactly what's going on with them. It's why I despise the, if he wanted to, he would
Okay.
discourse.
Interesting.
Like,
Uh-huh.
think about how many things you've wanted to do that you couldn't, or that you didn't have access to,
Yeah.
or that you didn't have the bandwidth for. That doesn't mean I don't want it,
Right.
right? Like,
Just means you don't know how to get it yet.
yes, or I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I don't have my driver's license and someone was like, it would mean a lot to me if you drove to my house. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a process.
It's going to be a few
get
months.
and then I have anxiety around a road test, right?
Right.
And they're like, you know what? If you really wanted to drive to my house, you would do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. Oh, it's
I
so
just
tricky.
hate it. Yeah.
It's so tricky. Because I was raised, I used to feel like a lot of guilt when I would go do social things in like middle school and high school. And I was living with my mom at the time and like would leave her alone. And it was really hard for me to believe her when she said that it was okay because I felt guilty leaving her alone. Hi, Mom. And so like a big lesson that I had to learn was that if she says that it's okay, I just
Yeah.
have to trust it and let it happen, which is still really hard for me as like a really empathetic human who holds a lot of guilt at other people's negative emotions.
Hey, I've learned, I
Hey.
think part of the reason I became a therapist subconsciously
Mhm.
was to learn how to not do that.
Sure. Okay. Which is a great segue because I wanted to ask, what prompted you to want to become a therapist?
Oh my God. Okay. So it's really interesting.
Okay.
I either wanted to be I'm using young Rachel's words here,
Mhm.
on Broadway
Classic.
or a therapist.
Which feels right. Those two things are very parallel. The
So-
more therapists I talk to, I'm like, yeah,
Right?
it's all the study of emotions.
Yes. And someone's motivation
Mhm.
and like a character study in a conservatory program is like a case study
Yeah.
in grad school, just with like different things that you're focusing on.
That is what I have learned from this podcast specifically and talking to therapists is that we did sort of go to school for the exact same thing, just in the artistic and academic sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's still a Master of the Arts.
Right.
It's not even a Master of Science.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really like therapy isn't, I mean, it is based in science.
Sure.
And it's an art form.
Right.
And I did not put that they were so similar. Like that didn't click for me until late in grad school.
Okay.
So I wanted to be on Broadway
Mhm.
or I was going to be a therapist. My like whole childhood life, I grew up doing theater. I then got sent to therapy when I was 14 because my mom, who is also very intuitive.
Okay.
Sorry, Mom, for telling this story.
Here we go.
My mom, I just want to note, disclaimer, she has since apologized, thinks that this was terrible behavior, and we are healed and have a
Great.
wonderful relationship.
And we all work through the things that we got to work through.
Exactly. She thought that something was off with me.
Okay.
And so she went into my room and read my diary.
Oh my gosh.
And I had had sex.
Okay.
And I had tried pot.
Okay.
And so the obvious next logical step was I found this therapist on Oprah that works near
Sorry.
us. No,
That was not the direction I thought that was going to go.
and
Okay.
she specializes in unhealthy relationships. And clearly, if you're having sex and smoking pot, this is an unhealthy
Obviously.
relationship. So, like, we're going next Tuesday.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed. I went into that therapist's office and I left feeling more seen and understood and supported and celebrated than I had felt any other time in my teens.
Wow.
And I left and I said to my mom, if I'm not on Broadway, I want to do that.
Yeah. Okay, we do have so many similarities, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I want to pivot back to the diary. You talked also in a different podcast about in that diary, you sort of went back and learned that you had ideas about non-monogamy, polyamory, whatever you wanted to call it now versus then, that you didn't realize was what it was then. That was a terribly phrased question.
No,
But can
not
you
at
talk
all.
about that experience and what
Yeah.
it was like to look back on that as an adult?
So it was very traumatic having my
Of
parents
course.
read my diary. So for many, many, many years, it was like in a box. I didn't touch it. Like I couldn't go near it. And in 2018, 2019, I was like, I'm reading my fucking diary.
You're like, I want to either just like cry, weep, get embarrassed. Who knows?
Yeah, I was like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this like thing that has. So I started reading it and I was flooded back with the emotion that I remember feeling while I was writing these things. Like, it even makes me
Whoa.
emotional talking about it. And I felt so abnormal.
Yeah.
So I was writing things like, and just to frame this, we grow up in a super mononormative world,
Okay,
right?
right.
So like
Yeah.
I was introduced, we had a lot of gay like family members or family friends. The like LGBTQ of it all was very much around me.
Right.
Unfortunately, not the T.
Right.
Growing up. But the relationship structure, to my knowledge at that time, was only monogamous.
Right.
Literally didn't know that there was another option than that.
Yeah.
So a lot of these diary entries are like grappling with that, but through the lens of a 14, 15-year-old girl.
Right.
So one of them says something like, I love my boyfriend so much. I don't want to break up with him, but I really want to know what it feels like to make out with this person.
Wow.
Do I need to break up with him and then go kiss him and then ask him to get back together? Or do I do it in secret, but then I'm a bad person? And like this feeling of like this girl being stuck, and like one of the lines, it's so sad. It's like, maybe I'm just a slut and like I shouldn't, you know, have relationships at all. And like, I'm not ready for a relationship, clearly, because no, I was ready for many relationships. I just wasn't ready for one.
Right.
And it was powerful and painful to look back.
Yeah. I too didn't really think about non-monogamy as something I practiced until an adult, but in really thinking about it over the past couple months and talking to my friends from high school, we were all like, oh, like we weren't having sex with each other, but we were in the most like complicated constellation polycule of friends, dating, like,
and like a metamor into this, but like we didn't have the language. Yeah.
It just like cracks me up because I was like, oh, well, no wonder like I'm not somebody who feels comfortable with monogamy, because that was my high school formative experience. And then in college was so like loose, and I had like boyfriends, but we didn't want to label each other. So we also like, you know, we weren't exclusive, and then coming to New York and a game over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I'm going to, well, I won't name names, but I'm sorry if you're watching this. When I was 16, almost 16.
Okay.
My best friend at the time had not had sex with a man yet. And I had been with my boyfriend for 2 years.
Okay.
And she was like, I just, you know, I'm worried I'm going to like go off to college and it's going to be some asshole. And it's da-da-da-da-da. And I literally said, do you want to have sex with my boyfriend? I can be there with you and hold your hand.
That is so sweet.
And like, I asked him and he was like, is this a trap? Like what? And I was like, no, like I genuinely want her to have a good experience. And like, my experience with you has been so wonderful. Why wouldn't I want her to have that? And I had like forgotten about that for a long time. And I rethought about it and I'm like, oh my God. Like, and it was not erotic for me. It was truly like I was there to hold her hand and like make sure she was good. And we did that.
Wow.
And that is how she lost her virginity.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, I was so poly.
That is so fascinating.
I know.
And I think though the sentence that resonates with me is that it's, well, this is so good for me and this feels so lovely. Like, why would I not want to extend this to other people that I love, which is how I approach openness. So now that you are an adult,
yes,
what are your sort of core beliefs about relationships? Big question. Big question.
I was like, do we have 5 hours?
We'll just keep it going.
Okay, core beliefs about relationships. I can sum it up.
Okay, great.
Relationships are relationships are relationships are relationships.
Bam.
I hate the hierarchy of acquaintance.
Bam.
Friend.
Uh-huh.
Someone I'm dating. Maybe a play partner. Partner. Only partner. And then like, like as though the person on top has all of the priority all the time, and your friendship is like a different type of relationship. No, it's just you might not be having sex with them.
Right.
But like oftentimes, at least with a lot of clients I work with, especially people that were socialized as women, they feel emotionally closer with their friends than they often do with their partner. And so like this idea that there's like a, well, that's different, or that, every relationship is different. Of course. There are people that like I just want to have sex with and then leave.
Yeah.
And then there are people who I want to spend my life with. And that's great.
Yeah.
They're all still relationships. They're all still two people interacting.
Amen. It's so funny. We'll get to this in a second too, but my husband and I have been the the target of critical comments on the internet. Shocking. But my favorite one is, well, if you guys are open, that's not a real relationship. And I obviously, like, there are too many and I'm not going to gauge with them all, but I'm like, a relationship is literally just like two people.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
Everything is a relationship.
Yeah, literally, you have a relationship with the guy at the bodega.
Like, of course.
Yeah.
It's so silly to me.
I know.
What was the biggest lesson you had to overcome in terms of monogamy? Because I think so much criticism of non-monogamy comes from these really deeply ingrained beliefs about what love and relationships should look like.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest thing you had to unlearn about monogamy?
My first therapy office was in the Castro in San Francisco.
I've never heard of that place.
And I was like, I just want to work with queer, kinky people. Little did I know at that time, the majority of said people were non-monogamous.
Yes.
And so I really started to like be in the lives of people. And so a lot of the unlearning came naturally.
Yeah.
Because when therapists say they learn from their clients all the time, they're not bullshitting.
Of course.
Like, it's really, I gained so much from having the honor of like being in someone's brain for a little bit. So that helped.
Okay, hi friends. We had a little technical difficulty. So we lost like 4 minutes, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I won't even need this section.
Wow.
But last that we know we were talking about.
Yes.
We were talking about the Castro. We were talking about gay people. We were talking about non-monogamous people.
Yes.
In terms of lessons that you learned from them, for folks listening, we had just talked about like discomfort and how discomfort is a really important thing in relationships. But the biggest backlash that I got was people saying, why would I want my partner to feel discomfort? Can you talk a little bit about the positive aspects of discomfort in relationships?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, like that statement on its own, of course, if you're in a relationship and you're like, you know what? My goal is to make my partner fucking uncomfortable all the time. Like,
great.
Cool. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
With that said, we will create discomfort for our partners and they will create discomfort for us. The longer a relationship is, the more discomfort you're going to experience with that person. Someone could book a national tour and that creates discomfort. Someone could, I don't know, want to get a face tattoo.
Could be cool, could be discomfort.
Yeah. And like, there are so many things that could cause discomfort in a relationship. And for me, because non-monogamy is an orientation and not a choice, part of what someone is signing up for being in relationship with me is the discomfort that could come along with non-monogamy.
Right.
There are other types of discomfort that people sign up for being in relationship with me also. I'm like very emotional, sensitive. I have celiac. People have to like watch how they cook, where we eat. Like there are a lot of things about me, some chosen, some not, that could potentially create discomfort for someone else. But I can't not live my life as me for the sake of someone else's discomfort. Discomfort is temporary. It is not a permanent state of being. And I have certainly felt massive amounts of discomfort when my partner or partners have like done certain things or they're going somewhere. It's their first overnight with a new person. And I'm sitting at home like, I just want to die. Like, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And now I don't feel that as often because I felt it. You know, so I think that if you're looking at it as like someone is forcing their partner to be in a non-monogamous relationship that they don't want to be in, that's why would you do that? That's not, then I agree.
So this concept of non-monogamy as orientation or choice is a pretty new conversation to me, but one that I find immensely fascinating. And I think it really gives a different lens to the conversation between partners. if someone is non-monogamous, but learns it over the course of being in a relationship with somebody who is maybe less non-monogamous, how would you advise them to sort of reconcile that difference?
So this is happening a lot lately.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because finally we're talking about non-monogamy. And so people are reading an article or seeing it represented kind of in movies and TV.
Not well.
Yeah, not well, but it's there.
Right.
Like the idea is then implanted. And so all of a sudden you have this, couple who's been married for like 25 years. And one of them is like, you know what? I think I might want to flip this whole thing on its head.
Yeah.
It's hard. And it's especially hard because, unlike my example of if you're committing to be in a relationship with me, you know what you're signing up for.
Right.
We don't know what we're signing up for with everybody over the course of forever. And so I think it's important just to remember that this isn't like a bait and switch.
Mhm.
Things just happen. Things
Right.
can happen. So I do have clients where one person is polyamorous and one person's monogamous. We call them polymono
Okay.
relationships.
Mhm.
They can work. They can work. Each person can be themselves
Yeah.
and make it work if they want to. I think that where we get it kind of mixed up is not being patient
Mhm.
and not willing to have the conversations that need to be had to figure out how to do it.
Very, very much agree. Do you think that there is a period of time that a couple maybe should spend? I'm not even going to say like monogamous, but internal. Because when I ended up bringing it up to Casey, I brought it up very quickly. And he wished I had waited a bit longer until we had a little bit more trust established. And a lot of the comments are online are like, well, you have to bring it up immediately, or you're lying, or so do you think there's a correct amount of time?
No, I
Great.
don't. I really don't. I look, if you know that about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or if you are currently actively non-monogamous,
Yeah.
absolutely bring it up right away.
Yeah.
Like put that shit top of the dating profile. First date, like I'm
Mhm.
non-monogamous, just want to make sure we all
Yep.
know what's going on here. But with that said, if a relationship is like already existing
Yeah.
and one person is kind of like having this thought,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Right.
I think you share when you share, and it's perfectly okay, for example, your husband at the time to be like, instead of I wish you had waited,
Mm-hmm.
I would really love to have a few more months with you.
Right.
To build that trust and then readdress it.
Right.
Like, does that sound okay? And I'm not like criticizing.
No. And I think, it's actually one of my favorite examples to bring up because, like, obviously I was 21, 22 when we met. So
my God,
I know.
baby.
I know. If you had told me that I would have gotten married to the person I met at 22, I would have been like, hell no. But Casey, I love you. And
I love you too, Casey, even
Casey's
though we
the
haven't met
best.
yet.
But like, it was so interesting because I was so enamored with all of the people that I was seeing. And I didn't say I wanted to be open right away. I just said, I'm interested in exploring how we build a relationship that works for us.
Mm-hmm.
And because of my very close and sexual relationships with those people, he didn't like quite feel that he had, I don't want to say like a hierarchy, but those like felt threatening as we were building a relationship.
Well, but that's the norm.
Right.
Right? Like the norm of this hierarchy that we were talking about before is like you go up a relationship escalator
Mm-hmm.
and then you are together at the top of it.
Sure.
And anything else that's around detracts from that
Mm-hmm.
instead of adding.
Right.
Which in healthy dynamics, it adds.
Right.
But because we're all brought up in this mononormative society, I still have narratives that pop up out of nowhere
Yeah.
that I'm like, I still think that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
what? And it takes a lot of active work. And like, I literally do this for work. Like, I
Yeah.
help people unpack this shit every day. And there will be a time where I'm like, huh, that's weird. I thought I worked through that, but here we are again.
Either from yourself or broadly what you've seen with other people, what is the number one script that you find people find most challenging
with non-monogamy.
Mm-hmm.
2.
Okay, great.
1 is I'm afraid that they will like this person more, whether that is liking time with them, liking the sex with them, liking them in general better,
Mm-hmm.
and then therefore you will leave me for them.
Right.
Because most of the models that we have of another person in outside of a 2-person relationship is cheating.
Right.
So like there is a script that comes up and like our nervous system kind of responds to that with like threat, 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 threat. Like your partner is doing something scary and terrible. So that comes up a lot. And shit, what was the second thing I was going to say? Say your question one more time.
What are the biggest scripts that people have to unlearn or that they find themselves in?
That there's not enough room. Like, as if our love has a capacity level. Right. Time has real limits. Bandwidth has real limits. The love and care that we can feel for other humans doesn't. And so, like, the way, sitting there and being like, let's say we were in a relationship and
Great.
I'm like, if you,
okay,
if you go sleep with that person or if you go date that person, I will inherently get less love.
Right.
Because you're giving some of your love pie to that person.
Right.
No. And if that starts happening, that's something that we would need to talk through. But it's not because of your capacity for love. It's probably like NRE and you're really excited. Right. And so you're like texting that person in the corner and I'm like, hello.
Right. And that is something that I definitely have thought about a lot, and something I remember having conversations with people when Casey and I first started being open. Like, I had a conversation with my mom about it. And the question was, well, what happens if you fall in love with someone else? And I also love that question because it exposes the belief that love is something that we cannot control, or that love does not take time to build. And I'm like, I love Casey, and I know that love with other people takes time. And so if something feels wrong or feels strange, that is a conversation that we can have before it becomes a threat.
Yeah. And also, I like to encourage my clients going in with, okay, so what if that does happen?
Sure. Let's
talk that through. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we talk it through, it's not as scary. What winds up feeling scary is the like, well, will you want to live with them?
Right.
Are you going to want to have kids with them? And then you start to actually have the like meat and potatoes of these conversations of like, okay, so you and I are going to be the ones that live together. I don't want to live with anybody else. I don't want to share finances with anybody else. I don't want to have a kid with anybody else. Great. So now what are we afraid of about the falling in love? And like really like digging into that. And often it shines a light on some of the areas of opportunity in our existing relationship in a way that I think most people would be deeply uncomfortable with. Yeah. So yeah, you got to be willing to like have these conversations. But I love those questions. Like, well, what if you fall in love with somebody else? And like, yeah, what do you think, Mom?
Right.
What do you think would happen?
Oh, I'm going to ask her. Mom, I'm going to call you. Okay,
You're welcome.
One last question before we get into our question bonanza, which this might be a clunky question, but it's been on my head and my heart. So much of either already. There are so many terms within polyamory.
Yeah.
And the culture is very distinct.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of gay men specifically do not feel like they want to be associated with the culture of polyamory and the language. And that then makes many gay men ill-equipped to have the conversations necessary to engage in non-monogamy. Like, I personally identify much more with open relationship than polyamory, although I'm sure 3 different people would look at my relationship and think different things.
Sure.
How would you advise someone who does not feel represented in the polyamory conversation to still get started with those conversations healthily?
Fuck the language. and use other words.
Okay, perfect.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I despise about like therapy speak going so mainstream is people are using terms not just inaccurately, but they're using terms instead of describing what happened. So if someone says, and then he gaslit me.
Yep.
Pause. Okay. Can you tell me what happened? It doesn't matter if they have the accurate definition of gaslighting or not. I don't really care what it's called. I want to know what happened. So with that, it's like, yeah, get rid of all those terms. Like, who cares? Let's just talk. Like, how do you feel? How do I feel? What do you want? What do I want?
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Ah, okay, incredible. It's easy. It's so easy. Yeah, because I've had conversation with friends who don't like they didn't like reading Ethical Slut because they're like, I just don't like align or feel represented by metamors and polycules. And there is so much terminology, which on a different episode of this, Shadeen Francis, who is...
I love her.
She's so cool. Yeah. She was right there. She's episode number 2. But she was talking about how different generations need different language.
Yeah.
And that really helped me. But I do think that I've even noticed it myself where I move to the language and away from what happened and how I felt about it. And that is where the meat of the discussion happens.
And it can be like an unconscious distancing from wanting to talk about the painful thing.
Interesting.
Right? Like, he gaslit me is a easier sentence to roll off the tongue than, well, when I asked him this question, he responded to me in this tone saying that, that's a lot harder to like go back and regurgitate. Also, one thing I just wanted to say based on what you said about Ethical Slut.
Yes.
I think a lot of non-monogamy books, articles, any literature, not all, a lot, are written for heterosexual couples. Now, that's not to say that there's not like inclusive language or that they're like the author did anything particularly wrong, but open relationships, specifically with gay men and the gay community, are not the same.
Right.
And it's just a whole different ballgame. And so I think that like that's accurate, that if you're reading these more like mainstream, I like that they're mainstream now.
I know.
These mainstream books.
Yeah.
I think that it makes sense to me as I'm thinking through it why that wouldn't land.
Right. And you have worked a lot with gay couples. Are there primary trends that you have noticed gay couples struggling with in terms of non-monogamy different than other couples?
Yeah.
What are they?
It's okay. So I'm trying to be like not super specific because one came into mind. Actually, now that you have said this, I'm thinking back, and a lot of it was language.
Okay.
The other thing is, how do I want to say this? A resistance to go very deep into emotions. And not want to like sit in that, like sit in the sticky.
Yeah.
I remember one session in particular, one guy got up and was like, it's just fucking sex. Like, we don't need to talk about our feelings.
Right.
And I was like, no, granted, that's a lot of men.
In general. Like, well, what are you feeling?
Exactly. But I have noticed that a lot. But I love working with gay couples because, like, I don't know. I feel like I can just, I get it. It was my first, like, that was my first office.
Right.
It was like 95% gay couples and like 5% lesbians.
Yes.
Queer women.
That is honestly the therapy office I want to be in. Yeah. Okay. So gay men, we got to sit with our emotions and be comfortable with being uncomfortable. which is really hard. I'm so bad at it.
What you're doing is creating distress tolerance.
Ooh, okay.
It's your literal tolerance for distress. And we are not designed, our nervous systems are not designed to tolerate distress at all. The second that we get activated, we go into how can I make this go away?
Right.
Not a conscious thought. This is why a lot of people turn to drugs or alcohol or eating, like something that immediately you can do, intake, grab to try to like resolve that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are temporary band-aids. They're not actually expanding your distress tolerance. And that's something that I teach. Well, DBT teaches it. There's a whole module on distress tolerance, and it's really enlightening.
Which is also now making me think of non-monogamy, and we are more actively than monogamous couples, I would say, expanding that type of distress tolerance.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes me have a lot more empathy for the comment section because those people are stressed out by the idea of discomfort in that way.
Correct. Yeah, so they're seeing you, and they're like, I could never.
And it's funny because it comes from all sides of people. Like it comes from people who've been hurt by openness. It comes from monogamous people. It comes from gay people who are like, you're not doing anything groundbreaking. You're just open like everyone else. And I'm like, I didn't say I was doing anything groundbreaking. I'm just showing you like what a relationship could look like.
Yeah.
I could literally talk to you for hours.
Same. We could compare comments. That'd be fun.
Ooh, that would be fun. Okay, after this.
Okay.
But now the question.
Okay.
Bonanza.
Lightning round.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Ooh.
Interesting. I surprised myself.
You did. Well, question number 2 was, do you think non-monogamy is a choice or orientation? So I'm skipping that one.
No, don't skip it.
Okay.
I think for some people it's an orientation and for some people it's a choice.
Whoa. Gosh. Okay, fine. Then I'm going to add in a question too.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about being poly?
The expansiveness of love, the different types of romance and sex that come, and not having preset boxes where people have to live.
You're so cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. If someone has read The Ethical Slut and Polysecure as the 2 most popular, what book should they read next?
My book that I'm writing.
Yes. Okay. Excellent.
At some point, I'll let you know the title.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be honest, Polysecure is my favorite one.
Okay.
But it's not a 101 book. And it's pretty dense. And it's like, this is longer than a couple cents. Okay. If you are not in a place yet where you feel comfortable and confident, like sitting in a therapy session for 50 minutes talking about that stuff, you're not going to get through Polysecure.
Right.
It's
incredible
book. Jessica Fern is like actually a therapist. It's very, very, very well done. It's not 101. And most of the 101 books out there, I actually don't love. I would recommend like finding therapists or experienced content creators that
like yourself, which we'll also get to in a second.
Like I have workshops on it. I have colleagues that have beautiful workshops on this. And find a therapist that specializes in this.
Yeah.
Like half of the time when I'm working with non-monogamous couples or a couple that's transitioning into non-monogamy, half of it's coaching and half of it's therapy.
Sure.
Right? Like I help them write their agreements. I help them update their agreements. Like you can't do that with a 101 book.
Yeah.
And hopefully one day there will be one to do that.
Bam. And like talk to your friends.
Yes.
Talk to your friends about their relationships and see what works and what doesn't work for you.
Yep.
What do you think is the most overused therapy term?
Narcissist.
Okay, interesting. Shadeen said boundaries, and I think both of those are.
No, that's good. That's really good.
But I think narcissist too.
Boundaries is better.
And what is your favorite or least favorite, or both, poly term?
Favorite, compersion.
Yeah. Amen.
Least favorite, fluid bonded.
I can't.
I'm like,
argue with that.
we are fluid bonded. It
You're
just
like-
sounds so like I bonded with your, like we did a blood oath or something,
Yeah.
you know? I don't know. It
No,
just doesn't.
I feel you.
Yeah.
All right. Now the final three
Oh my God.
to ask everyone.
'Kay.
What is something you're feeling curious about these days?
How to do all the things I want to do while still being good and effective at the things that I'm doing.
That is a journey that I am also on.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
When you're feeling down, what is a way that you seek out connection?
If there's nobody in person, I will text or call. If there's someone in person, I need snuggles immediately.
Yeah.
Snuggles, head rubs. My mom used to put me to sleep by playing with my hair.
Okay.
And there's some sort of like, my body learned that. And
Yeah.
so someone playing with my hair, it's like, it's so,
It is so relaxing. It's so
relaxing.
nice.
And being around somebody who I feel comfortable being down around.
That is
because
rare
not
and hard.
everybody fits that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have historically isolated when I'm down. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to like bring this near anybody. But I've had to learn that that's not healthy.
Find the people you can be sad around.
Yeah.
It's important.
And be sad and then like watch a movie with them.
Mm-hmm. Last question.
Okay.
What is a recent example of community that makes you smile?
Oh, well, just this past weekend, I have a platonic life partner, which again is like such, people are like, what's the difference between that and a best friend? This is, which I don't mean to
Yep.
make fun of the,
Yeah, you can.
but like
It's
I
fine.
get it so often.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went up to Canada for her birthday. Her birthday wish was to have her closest people all at her family's cottage for a
Oh.
weekend.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so beautiful. It was like, so Amanda, my
Mm-hmm.
PLP, my wife, Ashley, our two kids, and then Amanda's queer platonic partner,
Okay.
Amanda's very not platonic partner,
Mhm.
and Amanda's friend who was a partner.
Okay.
And it was
Perfect.
all of us, and it felt so,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those listening and not watching, but that was a very lovely physical response. And I also just think like, I feel like there is such a possibility with any conversation around that for someone to roll their eyes, right? And yet, like that sounds like the warmest, most lovely intermixing of humans and community that like is no one else's business to define. And so if someone's listening, like you are so allowed to have whatever types of relationships with whoever you want to that bring you happiness. Like we are in
Yes.
such a hard time in this world, and it makes no sense to try to limit how much connection and happiness people should have.
100%, even if that causes a little extra discomfort.
That discomfort is growth.
Yeah.
That's how we grow.
Yep.
Well, this has been like truly the best conversation, technical difficulty aside. If people want more of your wisdom, which they will, where can they find you?
Mostly on Instagram,
Perfect.
except for I get terrified that one day I'm going to log on and my account's just going to be gone.
Who
which
knows?
It happened to me. It was really bad.
So you
I
have
got
past
it back.
trauma. Okay.
Yeah, past trauma around
Yep.
Meta. Instagram, the Wright_Rachel.
Right. WRIGHT.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So the WRIGHT_Rachel. And my website, rachelwrightnyc.com.
Beautiful. Rachel, this has been like the most beautiful, enlightening conversation. And I'm so grateful that you got close with me today.
I feel grateful too. This was so great.
Thank you. Well, folks, that is all for me today. If you liked this episode, please leave a comment with something that you learned and make sure to tune in next Tuesday for another exceptional episode. And remember, when connection feels far away, we start by getting close.